What would you do if a stranger called you in the middle of the night, knew everything about your life, and said they were coming for the person sitting right next to you? My name's Jake, and this is the most unsettling experience I've ever had. It still haunts me to this day. So, my girlfriend, Emily, and I have been dating for 3 years. We met as freshmen in college. Both of us are from Ohio, but we ended up at Stanford, far from home. Being from the Midwest made us click instantly, and over the years, we've even built some cute traditions together. One of our favorites, our late-night Christmas drive. Every year, we'd split Christmas between our families, Christmas Eve with mine and Christmas Day with hers. It's a 2-hour drive between our houses, and we always head out after midnight. The roads are empty, the world feels asleep, and it's just us, blasting our favorite music. But this past Christmas, something happened. We just left my parents' house, cruising through dark, snow-dusted backroads. It was peaceful, perfect, even. The heater was on, the music was loud, and Emily was singing along. Then, my phone rang. It was an unknown number, so I ignored it, figuring it was just a scam call. Emily made a joke about telemarketers working overtime on Christmas, and we laughed it off. But then, the phone rang again. Same number. I shrugged it off, but Emily gave me a weird look. "That's so strange," she said. Still, I didn't think much of it. But the third call. That's when things got creepy. I grabbed my phone, irritated, and answered, ready to give whoever it was a piece of my mind. "Hello?" I snapped. But no one spoke. All I could hear was faint static on the other end. My heart started to race. I was about to hang up when a man's voice broke through. "Hello, Jake." I nearly swerved off the road. The voice was cold and calm, like he knew me, like he'd been expecting me. Before I could say anything, he started listing personal details, my full name, my address, even facts about my life no stranger could possibly know. I felt my stomach twist. My mind was racing. Who was this? How did they know so much about me? Finally, I mustered the courage to speak. "What do you want?" I asked, trying to sound steady even though my hands were trembling on the wheel. The pause that followed felt like an eternity. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "I'm not here for you," the voice said. "I'm here for Emily." My heart stopped. I glanced at Emily, and the look on her face told me she'd heard every word. Her eyes were wide with fear, her lips trembling. I stammered, trying to play it off. "You've got the wrong number. I don't know an Emily." The man chuckled, a low, chilling laugh. "She's sitting right next to you." That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I slammed on the brakes and pulled over to the side of the road. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely keep my grip on the wheel. Before I could say anything, Emily reached over and hung up the phone. I whipped around to face her. "Why would you do that?" I shouted. "That guy was threatening us." She didn't answer. She just sat there, staring at me with tears in her eyes. I tried calling the number back, once, twice, 3 times, but it wouldn't go through. It was like the number didn't even exist. Emily begged me to keep driving, so I did. The rest of the drive was silent. No music, no talking, just the sound of the tires on the road and my heart pounding in my chest. When we finally reached her house, Emily was still shaken. She told me she had no idea who the caller was or how they knew so much about us. But something about the whole thing didn't sit right with me. See, Emily and I have had our ups and downs, and there have been times when she wasn't completely honest with me. Little things, half-truths, white lies. And now, with everything that had just happened, I couldn't shake the feeling that she might be hiding something. It's been over a month since that night, and I still don't have any answers. We asked our families, and they all swore they had nothing to do with it. Emily insists she's as clueless as I am. But the thing is, no one knew we'd be driving that night. No one except our families. So who was that man, and how did he know so much about us? To this day, every time my phone rings, I feel my stomach drop. I know he's going to call again, it's just a matter of time. And that's the story of the creepiest phone call of my life. To this day, I'm still waiting for answers, and honestly, I'm not sure if I'll ever get them. What do you think? Was it just a twisted prank, or something way more sinister? Another story is the creepiest passenger I ever picked up. I've been driving for rideshare services for a few years now, mostly late-night shifts. The tips are better, and the roads are quieter, but let me tell you, those quiet nights sometimes bring the strangest, most chilling encounters you can imagine. What I'm about to share with you is the reason I never drive without a dashcam anymore. This happened a few months ago during one of those eerily silent nights. It was around 2 a.m. and the streets were practically deserted. I got a ride request from a convenience store nearby. Seemed normal at first, but as I drove toward the location, I couldn't shake this weird feeling in my gut, like something was off. You ever get that instinct that tells you to turn around and leave? That's exactly what I felt. When I pulled up to the store, my stomach dropped. The place was closed, lights off, empty parking lot. And then I saw him. The guy was pacing in front of the store, wearing this beat-up hoodie that looked like it had never been washed. There was a hole in the sleeve, and his movements were jittery, like he couldn't stand still. He kept glancing over his shoulder, like someone, or something, was after him. My first thought. This dude is on something. I thought about canceling the ride right there. My finger hovered over the button, but for some reason, I didn't. I unlocked the doors, and he got in without saying a word. The moment he sat down, I regretted it. Most people scroll on their phones or look out the window during a ride. Not him. He just sat there, staring at me through the rearview mirror. No blinking, no looking away, just this cold, unflinching stare. It sent shivers down my spine. To break the tension, I turned on the radio. Big mistake. Turn it off, he barked, his deep, raspy voice making me jump. I fumbled to switch it off, gripping the steering wheel tighter. The silence that followed was even worse. A few minutes later, he finally spoke again. You ever pick up someone you shouldn't have? He asked. That question hit me like a punch to the gut. I forced an awkward laugh. I hope not, I said, trying to keep it light. But he didn't react. He just leaned back and muttered something under his breath, something I couldn't make out. Then he started rambling. He said he used to drive for a rideshare company too, but quit after some passengers stole from his car. He was slurring his words, smiling the entire time he told me this story. And let me tell you, there's nothing normal about smiling when you're talking about getting robbed. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. It's funny, he said, how much trust you put in someone sitting right behind you. At that moment, my hands were shaking on the wheel. I didn't know what he was planning, but my gut told me this guy wasn't just a harmless weirdo. As we got closer to the destination, his muttering got darker. He started apologizing, to someone, though I don't think it was me. He kept saying, I didn't mean it, over and over again, like he was confessing to something awful. I didn't respond. I just kept driving, praying we'd get to his stop soon. And then he snapped. You missed the turn, he yelled, his voice booming in the silence. I hadn't missed anything, the GPS clearly showed we were on track, but I slammed on the brakes anyway, terrified of what he might do. Pull over, he demanded. My heart was pounding, but I did as he said, pulling the car to the side of the road. That's when I saw headlights behind us. A police car was creeping down the street, its spotlight sweeping over my car. The guy in the back seat froze. He slouched down, trying to stay out of sight, his body lying almost flat across the back seat. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't dare move, afraid to even look at him. After what felt like an eternity, he sat back up, leaned toward me, and said, "You got lucky." Then he opened the door and disappeared into the night. I ended my shift early that night. I was too shaken to keep driving. But here's the part that still gives me chills. A few weeks later, I came across a news article. That same night, a convenience store just 2 blocks from where I picked him up had been robbed. To this day, I can't shake the thought that I had a dangerous criminal in my back seat. I'll never know what he might have done if things had gone differently, and honestly, I don't want to find out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more chilling, suspenseful tales, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.